Bulls Nation, over the course of many videos, we've discussed a lot about free agency targets and, of course, potential targets from the NBA coming into the Chicago Bulls, both slim and likely, and what their impact would be on this team. And today we're going to be taking a little bit of a step outside of the NBA. We're going to be talking about a EuroLeague player today. We're going to be talking about a player that I know a lot of people in my comment sections wanted me to discuss. And the reality is I didn't know a lot about this player. So today we're going to be talking about the EuroLeague MVP, Vasilije Micić. Hopefully I said that right. I'm not going to be pronouncing that the whole video, but we're going to be talking about that player in this video. Let's do it. What's up, everybody? It's the Aidan Sports Show, and welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to be discussing another Chicago Bulls related video, and this one is again a free agent NBA draft acquisition, I guess you would like to call it. He's a European player, played in the EuroLeague last year, won the EuroLeague MVP and Finals MVP, and in the end is someone that is ready to come into the NBA. And he is a point guard. Of course, we talk a lot about the point guard position on this channel. A very interesting player that we have on our hands today. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Aidan Sports Show YouTube channel. Turn notifications on, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about Micić. I believe his name is Micić, and that's what I'm going to be calling him for the duration of this video. I'm not even going to try to say his first name after what I said in the intro. That's the best you're going to get from me. I'm sorry, I do not like to make a fool out of myself. And there we go. There's a lot to talk about this player, because in the end, he is ready to go into the NBA. He was drafted in the second round, I believe, by the Philadelphia 76ers in 2014. He's a player that in the end stuck to the EuroLeague. He didn't really come over to play in the NBA. He was trying to develop his game and work on his game. And in the end, look what that got for him now. He's a EuroLeague MVP, EuroLeague Finals MVP, and he's ready to make his move into the NBA. Now, the funny thing is he won't be playing for the Philadelphia 76ers, it looks like, at this point in time, as the Philadelphia 76ers traded their draft rights to Micić to the OKC Thunder. So, very interesting topic we have on our hands. I guess the question is for this video, should the Chicago Bulls trade for the draft rights of Micić? So, with that being said, let's discuss this player. He's a player that I didn't know too much about. Again, from Australia, I don't really focus on the EuroLeague. NBA and the NBL are the main leagues over here, and that's the main things that we target in terms of what we do in Australia. But overall, I did some research on this guy. I watched a few highlight clips. I've read what a lot of people had to say about him, and I've kind of got an idea of the type of player that we're dealing with here in terms of Micić and whether or not he would be good enough for this team. So, as I mentioned before, he was drafted in 2014. It's 2021 now. He's 27 years old. He's ready to make his move into the NBA, and he has a lot of interesting qualities to him. His averages for his EuroLeague season was 16.7 points per game, 4.9 assists per game, and I believe 2.6 rebounds per game. Very interesting play there, and he has a lot of qualities offensively that I think many people cannot deny. In terms of the offensive side of the game, he has some very good vision. That's the first thing I noticed when I watched him. He knows how to read the pick and roll very well in terms of the offensive side. He knows when it's time for him to cut to the ring. He's able to use both hands in terms of dribbling, so that helps as well. He can finish with both hands. Very good to see. Obviously, the vision, as I said, the playmaking side of the game, he's able to find the open cutter when it comes to, again, off-ball movement. When it comes to the pick and roll as well, he's able to find the big man. He's able to do a lot of things on the offensive end. He's an offensive-minded player. That's the type of player that we're dealing with here. And offensively, he's very effective in that way. And that is the positives about Micić here that we're going to be discussing today. A lot of positivity in terms of that. I love the fact that he's able to drive and finish with two hands. That's very important. I love the fact that he was a very good three-point shooter in terms of the EuroLeague. He shot 38, I believe, % from the three-point line. And again, he's a good, effective mid-range shooter as well. He knows how to get his shots, and he knows the types of shots that he can make and take. Very good to see. And then that's the positive of a player staying in the EuroLeague, not necessarily rushing their way into the NBA because it's the NBA. If you work and develop on your game long enough, you will have the perfect qualities when you enter the NBA to become an effective player in the NBA straight away. That's why people choose college for 4 years. That's why people choose to stay in the EuroLeague when they get drafted. In the end, the fact of the matter is he's worked on his game abroad, and he's become very successful in his craft. However, it's not all sunshines and rainbows with this guy. Again, very good three-point shooter, very good mid-range shooter, has the ability to cut, has very good vision. The biggest, I think, worry for me is one, at 27 years old, is he ready for the NBA? Obviously, when you see that he's a EuroLeague MVP, he's played very, very well. He's won the EuroLeague Finals MVP, I believe, as well. You would say he's ready for the NBA, obviously. He's an NBA-ready player. He's been an NBA-ready player for, I think, a while now, and this is another season that takes him to the next step of being NBA-ready. I think he definitely is NBA-ready. There's going to be a few, I guess, stumbling blocks for him in his first year in the NBA, I would have to say. Obviously, he wants to play for a team where he's going to be able to start. I've read that from a lot of areas. He wants to be in a team that he's going to start in. And with the OKC Thunder, who currently have his trading rights or his draft rights, he's not probably going to be starting there. Because the fact of the matter is, they traded for Kemba Walker. Kemba Walker, if you guys didn't know, here's the spoiler, Kemba Walker is now an OKC Thunder player. He got traded from the Boston Celtics to the OKC Thunder to bring Al Horford back to Boston. Very interesting trade there. I'm not going to go too much into it, but I think it's a very interesting trade to say the least. The fact of the matter is, with Kemba Walker playing for the OKC Thunder, they have a dilemma on their hands. Because if that player, Micić, wants to be a starter in the NBA, you're going to have to make a decision on Kemba Walker. Do you see Kemba Walker as your starting point guard in the NBA? Or do you want to move him on and try to get something else in terms of the draft, in terms of player acquisitions, the whole sorts? And in the end, that's the decision OKC Thunder will have to make. So there's a possibility here that they decide to trade the draft rights of Micić once again. That's a very high possibility. And I think that's a possibility for the Chicago Bulls as well, considering the point guard position is wide open. There's a good chance he'll be starting for our team. And there's an opportunity for the Chicago Bulls to make a trade like that without giving up a whole lot of assets. So that's very important to note as well. There is an opportunity here for the Chicago Bulls if they try to seize the moment. The negative about Micić, from my understanding, I don't think he's a defensive-minded player at all. From my understanding of what this player is, from watching some highlights and from reading about him, his defense is a big worry at the NBA level. And unfortunately, in terms of the NBA level point guard that we need really good defensive qualities in that point guard position. I feel like Micić, in terms of the pick and roll on the defensive end, is going to have a very difficult time adjusting to the NBA, considering a lot of the NBA's pick and rolls. He's going to have a difficult time adjusting to that. Also, he's not athletic, so that means that he is a little bit slower in the point guard position, which means quicker point guards will have their way with him. And overall, I just feel like his IQ towards the defensive end is not great. I think there has a lot to be worked on. And at the 27 years old, it's going to have to come very quickly to him at the NBA level. And if he wants to be a successful defensive point guard in this league, he's going to have to adjust very quickly to that. And that's something in the NBA it's very difficult to adjust to. A positive that I haven't mentioned already as well, he can finish with contact. That's very good to see, considering we are a team that likes to slash to the basket. We're a team that relies on heavy ball movement, and movement involves cutting to the ring. Finishing with contact is a very good sight to see, and especially in the EuroLeague. A EuroLeague is a very difficult league to play in, and the fact that he was able to finish in contact in that league, I think that'll be very suitable for him over in the NBA as well. But should the Chicago Bulls pursue this player? In my opinion, it's a bit of a risk to go after him, to be honest. In the end of the day, it's the EuroLeague is a very competitive league, and we're seeing a lot more now that a lot of players are coming in from the EuroLeague, from a bunch of leagues around the world, and they're succeeding at the NBA level. So the competition in the EuroLeague is not something to laugh at. I don't laugh at the competition in the EuroLeague whatsoever. So, of course, there is potential there in this player at 27 years old to come into this team, start on this team, and make an impact on this team. But I'm going to be honest here, the defense does worry me, because in the end, he's not a defensive-minded player. And that is something that I think we need in the point guard position. At the end of the day, facilitating-wise, I think he'll be fine at the NBA level. I think he'll do very well at the NBA level, and that fits a key area that we need. We need a playmaking point guard. I think Micić can be a very good playmaking point guard in the NBA at the NBA level. But defensively is something very, very different in my opinion. I don't think he's going to be a solid NBA defensive-minded player, and unfortunately, that's fixing one solution without fixing another. So he's not my first choice. But again, if we don't get our first choice or our second choice, I think the Chicago Bulls should definitely consider this if there are options out there that they just simply can't get. For example, Alonzo Ball, as I said before, even a player like Mike Conley, players like that can fit both aspects of the game for the Chicago Bulls. We can't get one of those players onto this team. That I think adding Micić, taking a risk on him, he's a risk. He's not going to get paid a lot, I believe, because he's still technically a rookie in the NBA. The draft rights, he's going to be significantly cheaper than a point guard that we do go after, like Alonzo. So that's a positive, and it's a risk that could potentially be worth taking, because in the end, we've seen it. The EuroLeague players that come into this team, more often than not, can perform at the NBA level and can exceed their performances in the NBA compared to the EuroLeague. We've seen that before, and we can see it again. It's as simple as that. But I'm not going to lie and say that I think this is the 100% guarantee that we should go after him. I understand the type of player that he is. I've seen a lot of great highlights. I've saw a lot of positive things. However, all of those things have been offensive. I've not seen too much defensive highlights. I've not seen a lot from him defensively that makes me believe he should be a bona fide pick for the Chicago Bulls, that we should 100% pursue him. But it's definitely an option out there. And again, with the Chicago Bulls, there are many options out there. We have to look at all options, slim, likely, from afar, or within the NBA. The fact of the matter is, we have a lot to discuss in that retrospect. So this is my first attempt of discussing him in terms of the EuroLeague. In the end, I'm going to be honest, I have done a lot of research over the course of a few days about him, but I know I'm not the right person to ask about this player. At the end of the day, I know people that watch the EuroLeague on a regular basis. I know people that will discuss the EuroLeague on a regular basis. They're the ones that should be asking this question more than me. But this is my take on him. This is what I see from him when I watch him. And in the end, I think it's something that we can pursue. I think it's something that is a low risk, depending on what we have to give up for him. I would assume we would have to give up probably a player like Satoransky, maybe even a second round pick or something like that. Maybe we have to give up a little bit more. I really don't know, because at the end of the day, we just don't know what he'll be in the NBA. But it's a risk. It's a risk that could be worth taking, because in the end, that could be our player of the future. 27 years old, he's got a lot of years left in him, and he could definitely do something on this team. But again, he's not my first choice, to be honest, at this point in time. He's not my last choice either. So he's right around the middle of the pack for me in terms of who I think we should go after. In the end, he fixes a lot of one issue. He doesn't fix the other issue as much, and that is a big problem for me. That's why he's not my first choice, but he's definitely something that we should be looking at. That being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Again, this is only my take. As I said before, I'm probably not the right guy to ask about this, but at the end of the day, this is what I've seen from some research about him. Let's see what the future may hold for Micić in this team, whether it's the Thunder, whether it's the Bulls, whether it's Boston, whatever other team interested in him. I've heard San Antonio rumored around as well with Greg Popovich. In the end, this guy has a future in the NBA. There's no question about it. Whether it's a good future or not, we'll wait and see. But is that future with the Chicago Bulls? We shall also wait and see. Take care and peace.